Assalamualaikum, my name is LIYANA binti ABUSAH. McDonald's Corporation, or known as McDonald's, was founded by Maurice and Richard McDonald back in 1940 in California. McDonald's is one of the largest fast food chains that is well known for its hamburgers, especially Big Macs. Meanwhile, for KFC or Kentucky Fried Chicken, it was founded in Kentucky, United States by Harlan Sanders in 1952. KFC mission statement is to embrace people all over the world, ensuring customer happiness at any moment they consume meals and making it significantly superior to other restaurant chains and outlets.
On October 5, 1902, Raymond Albert Kroc, or known as Ray Kroc, was born in Oak Park, Illinois. Kroc worked as a musician, musical director, real estate dealer, sales manager, and involved in business of selling paper cups and milkshake machines. He died in 1984 at the age of 81. Next, Harlan David Sanders, or known as Colonel Sanders, was born in Henryville, Indiana on September 9, 1890. He worked as a farmer, a streetcar conductor, a railroad fireman, and an insurance salesman since he was a little boy. He died on December 16, 1980 at the age of 90.
The success story for McDonald's started in 1954. Ray Kroc approached McDonald's brothers and offered his service to them. Eventually, he became the McDonald's national agent and ushering in a new era in franchise. In 1995, the first McDonald's opened in Illinois and the company was renamed the McDonald's Corporation, and by 1965, there were over 700 locations across the United States. By 2003, the company had over 31,000 locations in 119 different countries. Every day, McDonald's managed to get over 47 million customers with revenue totaling 17 billion. Now, let's talk about KFC. In 1930, Harlan Sanders obtained a service station in Corbin, Kentucky, and began serving classic cuisine to travelers, and discovered that using a pressure cooker to fry his chicken produced the perfect consistency he had been wanted. Over the next decade, Sanders' restaurant grew in popularity, and the governor of Kentucky honored him Colonel, the highest distinction the state can bestow, in 1950. In 1952, he agreed to commercialize his chicken dish as Kentucky Fried Chicken with several other area restaurants after it became a top-selling item. Sanders had over 600 Kentucky Fried Chicken locations in the United States and Canada by 1963.
For these sections, we will look at between the personality traits present in both leaders. We discovered that after joining McDonald's in 1954, Kroc brought the openness mentality to the company as he grew it into a worldwide brand. Kroc was open to new ideas, especially from operators, even though he adhered to rigid food preparations and service standards. Next, Kroc has an extravagant personality because he is a great communicator who can persuade others to believe what he says. He also able to persuade Son Bond, McDonald's Corporation first president, to assist him in obtaining a $2.7 million loan to enable him to acquire the business straight from McDonald's in 1961. Kroc is said to have the personality traits of conscientiousness because he is a visionary person. Kroc has the right priorities since he is transforming the face of the food chain sector throughout the world on his own. Then there's Ray Kroc's ability to pay attention to detail. Kroc always makes sure that he gave everything enough significance since he had to maintain the quality of the food in every area of his business. McDonald's was once known for its excellent service and no-wait meals concept. Kroc wanted to keep that, thus he was extremely careful in his actions. Based on this study, Sanders is believed to have these personality traits of openness because he has a creative idea in expanding his fried chicken business. Sanders signed a contract with his restaurant partner, Pete Harmon, in 1952 to sell his chicken dish as Kentucky Fried Chicken in exchange for a 4-cent loyalty per piece sold. This idea is seen to be a very smart move by Sanders to determine whether or not his product will be accepted by the general population. Next personality trait is conscientiousness. Sanders shows this personality trait when he begins to commit himself totally to the franchise side business that he had established 4 years before. When he when the restaurant he previously owned had to close. By 1963, Sanders had received over 600 franchise requests without having to work hard, and his Kentucky Fried Chicken was sold in over 600 locations across the United States and Canada.
Ray Kroc is someone who has a very high vision in achieving his goals. This shows that Kroc possesses a transformational leadership. Ray Kroc has a characteristic that was similar to those of the challenge, future orientation, and ability to motivate. To begin with, Kroc was a businessman who was not hesitant to take on new tasks and risks. Second, Kroc's visions for the future enable him to take food service to a whole new level by adding extensive automation into his operation. His long-term vision of ongoing growth and expansion is further supported by his future orientation. The ability of a leader to directly express visions to their followers and persuade them to support it is a critical component of transformational leadership. Meanwhile, Sanders has a leadership style that uses a behavioral theory which is initiating structure because he himself defines and structures his own rule to facilitate goal attainment. This is because Sanders decided to sell his chicken, known as Kentucky Fried Chicken, to his restaurant friend Peter Herman and get 4-cent royalty for every piece sold after he realized that his fried chicken is famous. Next, Colonel Sanders also possesses a situational leadership which is more to the type of telling leaders in him. This can be seen in 1956 where Sanders' restaurant was struck down by a new interstate in 1956 and he decided to sell the location at a loss. He left his $105 monthly social security check as his main source of income.
My name is Muhammad NAA'IM bin Muhammad NASIR. I will continue with the discussion on the personality and leadership style of both leaders. So, the personality style of both leaders that's suitable and relevant to the industry is openness. In this case, leaders like Ray Kroc and Colonel Sanders have an openness personality and they shows a willingness to accept constructive criticism from anyone, whether they are employee, customer or their competitors. They also willing to listen and accept opinion from their employees. I believe openness is important because it goes to what people want and expect. If they are to feel some sense of ownership and emotional connection to the organization. So next, personality that's suitable and relevant to the industry are conscientiousness. The dictionary define the nature of conscientiousness as wanting to perform a task or responsibility well and earnestly. For example, Ray Kroc and Colonel Sanders are precisely focused on their business and product, with a mindset that anything they do is to achieve a long-term goal. To thrive and survive in the food industry, leaders need to have a very conscientiousness attitude because meticulous and hardworking individuals perform their tasks diligently, orderly, and responsibly. Meanwhile, the leadership style of both leaders that's suitable and relevant to the industry is transformational leadership. In this study, Ray Kroc used the transformational leadership style in expanding the McDonald's franchise to every corner of the country. For example, Ray Kroc is the one who set an example for others to follow his steps. He also engaged his followers by using rapport, inspirational, and empathy to the community. For people like Ray Kroc, they are noted for their bravery, self-assurance, and readiness to make sacrifices for the next leadership style that's suitable and relevant to the industry is behavioral theory. This leadership style was shown by Colonel Sanders. The behavioral leadership theory shows how a leader acts and assume that this attribute can be duplicated by other leaders. For example, Colonel Sanders was only a farmer, a streetcar conductor, and an insurance salesman. In this case, Sanders does not have any experience and background involving the food industry. However, Sanders defined and structures his own role to facilitate the goal attainment.
In conclusion, we could see that behind every success of a business, there must be a leader who always works hard to develop the business. Although the result of this study, which we found that some of the personality traits and leadership skills of the two leaders are similar, but the method and actions taken by both of them are significantly different to make sure that their products are still cherished by customers.